Eleanor Hartley hadn't been back to Valeria in over 10 years. The small, picturesque town nestled in the mountains had always held dark memories for her. But when she received news of her father's unexpected death, she had no choice but to return. Arriving at her childhood home, a sprawling estate on the edge of town, Eleanor felt a chill run down her spine. It wasn't just grief, it was something more. Something about her father's death felt wrong. Eleanor met with her father's attorney the next morning, hoping to settle his affairs quickly. But instead of routine paperwork, she was handed a letter from her father, written just days before his death. The letter was cryptic, mentioning the secrets hidden beneath, and warning her not to trust anyone. Her father's words left her unnerved. What secrets was he referring to, and why had he been so afraid? Elena knew she wouldn't be leaving Valeria anytime soon. As Elena walked through the town, it seemed as though time had stood still. The same old faces greeted her with polite smiles, but there was an underlying tension in their eyes. Something had shifted in Valeria, but no one was willing to talk about it openly. At the local diner, an old friend, Sarah, hinted at strange happenings since Eleanor had left. People had gone missing, and there were whispers of a powerful family controlling everything behind the scenes. Eleanor spent hours in her father's study, combing through old documents and journals. She had always known her family had been influential in Valeria, but what she discovered shocked her. The Hartleys had been involved in much more than local politics. They had ties to an underground network that ran deep through the town's history. Her father's journal entries became increasingly erratic in the weeks before his death, mentioning an ancient pact and a group known as the Order of Valeria. The more Eleanor read, the more she realized her father's death wasn't an accident. That night, as Eleanor tried to make sense of the journal, she heard footsteps outside her window. She looked out to see a shadowy figure darting across the estate grounds. Grabbing a flashlight, she rushed outside, but the figure had disappeared. In the distance, she saw the old abandoned church on the hill, a place her father had always forbidden her to visit as a child. She felt a pull to go there, though every part of her knew it was dangerous. The next morning, Eleanor decided to visit the church. The building had fallen into disrepair, but there was something ominous about its presence. Inside, she found strange symbols carved into the walls and remnants of old ceremonies, offerings, candles, and cloaks. Eleanor discovered a hidden chamber beneath the altar, but before she could investigate further, she heard footsteps approaching. She quickly hid, her heart pounding as two men entered, speaking in hushed tones about keeping the order's secrets safe. Shaken from the encounter at the church, Eleanor returned home and found an envelope slipped under her door. Inside was a single note: "Leave Valeria, or you'll end up like your father." Fearing for her life, Eleanor reached out to Sarah, hoping her old friend might know more about the town's secrets. Sarah reluctantly agreed to meet her, but warned Elena to tread carefully. "Valeria's power structure isn't just built on money," she said. "It's built on fear." Sarah directed Elena to the town's library, where she uncovered old records dating back centuries. Valeria had been founded by several influential families, including the Hartleys, who had made a pact with an unknown benefactor. In exchange for wealth and control, they agreed to uphold certain rituals. The deeper Elena dug, the more it became clear that the Order of Valeria wasn't just a myth. It was real. And her family had been deeply involved. Just as Elena was beginning to feel the weight of the secrets she'd uncovered, she was approached by a man named Jacob, a local historian. Jacob had been researching the Order for years and had lost family members to its influence. He warned Elena that her father had been close to exposing the group before his death. Jacob offered to help her unravel the mystery, but he cautioned her that they would be watched closely. The Order had eyes and ears everywhere. Elena and Jacob discovered that the Order was planning a masked ball, a yearly event held under the guise of a town festival. It was during these events that the Order's members conducted their most important rituals and made decisions about the town's future. Determined to get more information, Elena and Jacob attended the ball in disguise. Inside the grand hall, they saw Valeria's most powerful families, all dressed in elaborate masks, participating in what appeared to be a ceremonial dance. While at the ball, Elena overheard key members of the Order discussing a secret meeting in the underground chambers of the church. In the hidden chamber, they witnessed a chilling scene. The Order's leaders making plans to eliminate anyone who threatened their power, including Elena. It was now clear that her father's death had been orchestrated because he had tried to expose them. Elena barely escaped the church, but Jacob was not so lucky. He was captured by the Order. Desperate to save him, Elena turned to Sarah for help. But Sarah's behavior had changed, and Elena began to suspect that she too was working for the Order. Betrayed and alone, Elena realized that there was no one left she could trust. She had to take matters into her own hands if she was going to survive. In a final attempt to understand her father's role in the Order, Elena returned to her family's estate and broke into the locked safe in his study. Inside, she found documents that revealed the full extent of the Hartley family's involvement with the Order, including her father's plan to dismantle it from the inside. But the most shocking revelation was that her mother, who she believed had died in an accident when she was a child, had been killed for trying to leave the Order. Elena knew that her time in Valeria was running out. With the Order closing in on her, she devised a plan to gather enough evidence to expose them to the outside world. But first, she had to rescue Jacob. Breaking into the Order's headquarters, Elena found Jacob imprisoned in a cell deep beneath the church. With quick thinking, she managed to free him, and the two barely escaped with their lives. Just when Elena thought she had gained the upper hand, she was betrayed once again, this time by a member of the police force who had been working for the Order all along. She and Jacob were captured and brought before the Order's council. The leader of the Order revealed himself to be someone Elena had known her entire life, her father's closest friend, a man she had trusted completely. He had been orchestrating everything from the shadows, including her father's death. The Order's leader gave Elena one final choice: join them and continue her family's legacy, or be silenced forever. They offered her wealth, power, and protection in exchange for her loyalty. Elena, now fully aware of the dark history that had shaped her life, refused. She knew that no amount of wealth or power could justify the evil the Order had perpetuated. Elena had one last card to play. Before her capture, she had hidden crucial evidence of the Order's activities, photographs, recordings, and documents in a secure location outside of town. She revealed this to the Order, threatening to release the information to the press if they didn't let her and Jacob go. The council was furious, but they had no choice. Reluctantly, they agreed to let them leave Valeria under the condition that they would never return. Elena and Jacob made their escape from Valeria, but they knew they weren't safe yet. The Order had a long reach, and it would only be a matter of time before they came after them. They travelled to a safe house outside the city, where Elena began preparing the evidence to be sent to multiple media outlets. She knew that once the truth about Valeria was exposed, the Order would be finished. Just as Elena was about to release the evidence, the Order tracked them down. A final confrontation ensued, with Elena and Jacob barely managing to outwit their pursuers. In a desperate move, Elena broadcasted the information live, ensuring that the Order's secrets would be revealed to the world. The leaders of the Order were arrested, and the town of Valeria was forever changed. With the Order dismantled and its leaders behind bars, Valeria began to heal. The town, once shrouded in mystery and fear, was now free from the oppressive grip of the secret society that had controlled it for generations. Elena returned months later, not as a victim, but as a hero who had exposed the truth. Walking through the town that had once filled her with dread, she noticed how different everything felt. People greeted her with genuine warmth, and the shadow that had loomed over Valeria seemed to have lifted. Her family's legacy had been tainted by darkness, but Elena had carved a new path, one rooted in truth and justice. Jacob, now her close ally, stood by her side as they visited the cemetery where her father and mother were buried. Placing flowers on their graves, Elena whispered a promise to her parents to honor their memories by continuing to fight for what was right. The secrets of Valeria had been laid bare, and while there was still much work to do, Elena felt a sense of closure. She knew her journey wasn't over, but for the first time in years she felt at peace. The town, the people, and even she herself had changed. As Elena prepared to leave Valeria once more, she looked back at the town from the hill where the old church once stood. It was a symbol of all that had been lost, but also of all that had been reclaimed. Valeria would never be the same again, and neither would she. The end.